Yeah, let's get it started. Now, it's all about how aligning analytics tools with the flow of data speeds up the time to insight, how it helps you to produce more relevant results. And this is for you very important, because faster and better insights are obviously one of the most important pieces of a foundation for thriving in quickly changing markets that we experience all over the world across all industries. And you as analytics experts, you should know and you must analyze more data today from more sources and answer more questions and do that quicker than ever before. And during that talk and the upcoming talks and presentations of our sponsors, you will see how modern tools reduce the time required really to generate new insight, to generate trusted new insight. That's very important. And to do that at scale and not only on departmental level. So also from my side, welcome to the webinar. As Nina said, I'm one of the authors of the study that we are going to talk about, and I'm looking forward to discuss the matter with you. So first of all, in today's volatile and dynamic markets, as we said, getting faster insights, getting better insights is really, really vital to outperform your competition. And what we see on the market is that there are tools and categories of tools that did not have this need of speed really built into their DNA, that are really in their guts. So, but there is a certain category of tools that really achieves speeding up the process of generating insights. We call that the integrated data and analytics software. And integrated data and analytics software provides scalable facilities to ingest data, to transform it, to store it, to analyze it, and to present it. Yeah, and it does so in a unified environment, and it does so for a wide range of analytics use cases. But why should you care? Why is that important for you? Yeah, because having such a software, having a software that really goes across the whole data flow, that really makes it possible for you within a unified environment, within a unified interface, to ingest data, to transform it, and then to analyze and present it to the audience. If that's possible, you can go much faster really from the source to the insight, which is, as we said, one of the most important parts and areas that we're talking about. One important aspect here is ease of use. Is the software easy to use? First of all, the unified interface across all areas plays a very important role here. That makes it easy to use because you don't have to learn different tools if you want to go really from data to presentation. And also, you don't have to switch between distinct environments if you want to go through the whole process. And additionally, most of the tools really have a modern interface that makes it really easy to use. They are mostly lean. They are mostly very intuitive, and also Augmented Analytics helps to guide users through all the aspects of, and helps them to transform and build better models and build better presentations that really bring out what's important. And also to help Augmented Analytics also helps analyzing the data in detail. This unified environment with huge or with very good usability helps you to really excel when it comes to iterative analysis. Why is that important? Because very often you have a problem, you take the data, you transform it, you analyze it, and then you find out, okay, there is a finding, and then you see, okay, I need more data to even go further, and then you ingest it and work on it again. So this iterative analysis is very important, and if you have to do that through multiple tools, it will slow you down very much. Another aspect of these tools is their flexibility. So they're really very versatile, and they have they give you lots and lots of possibilities to work with data, to really get the most out of the data, to analyze it from every angle. Why is it so flexible? Because the tool is so flexible because it is so powerful. It provides so many different features that and again, really the aspect of going from data to presentation within one tool makes it so powerful. The way or the fact that these tools often are very easy to use for the business users makes them extremely powerful in the hands of the business users who have their real business problems that they want to elaborate on, and they want to inform the decisions with these tools. Obviously, why haven't tools always been that way? Is one of the reasons is because of the cloud. With cloud is one of the major drivers that we see behind the integration of tools in that various form, or in this distinct form. And the cloud helps you to get all the scalability you need to analyze lots and lots of data, to present the information to many people, to use or to get the computing power to run, for instance, machine learning models, and so on and so forth. This also already describes the wide range of the use cases we were talking about initially. Most or all of the tools basically they offer the possibility to present data in reports, in dashboards, in any forms of visualizations. Very often also good mobile support, and also what they offer is good data preparation facilities. Yeah, preparing data from the source, putting it into an internal store or whatever, and this data preparation within a BI tool was not so common 10 years ago. But what we now also see is that the tools go way beyond that. The tools, they offer the facilities to use, for instance, AutoML, directly within the tools, within the visualization. They help you to do something with data science, running machine learning models, running predictive algorithms, and so on and so forth. And there's also a type of tools that's very common and in finance, and it supports corporate planning, it supports forecasting, and it also and for instance, and then you often have that combined, like tools using machine learning using machine learning to run forecasts that you can use in your planning, in your forecasting, to run them quicker and to get better forecasts, for instance. So that's really a huge and a wide range of usability, of use cases that you can cover with such versatile and powerful tools. So what's important now, and what also is shifting, is we call it the openness. Because what you don't want is yet another data silo in your organization. I think all of you have enough of them. So on every layer, it must be possible to connect and to other tools to that solution. When we go from top to bottom, we see for the presentation layer, for instance, it must be easy to embed dashboards, reports, visualizations in any operational application, be it a CRM system or whatever. Why is that? Because you want to bring analytics to the masses. You want to bring it to the people where they work, and get it really to all the people out there. So that's a way how to reach many people. Then if you analyze the data, you need to be able to leverage machine learning, as we said. You need to be able to leverage maybe AutoML. You need to be able to leverage statistical libraries to really analyze the data from all angles and in all details, find patterns, find correlations, find trends that you can use on. Accessing store, the internal data storage is also very important. And this access has to be possible for third-party systems, for first-party solutions, for instance, via API or SQL, so open interfaces, and not something that's highly obscured, so that it's very easy to get the data. But not only access to the data stored in there, but also access to the semantic model, so that all the semantics that is built, like defined KPIs, dimensions, and so on and so forth, they are also available in other systems as well. Data preparation. If you do some transformation, you also want to export the data not only into the internal data storage, but you also might want to export the data to other systems like a data warehouse or any other standard database. Why is it? Because the requirements, they evolve quickly, and therefore if you have more options to integrate the software or without doing calculations twice, the more options you have, the happier you will be with that, definitely. And if you succeed with that, then it's possible that you get much more efficient, that you get better insights out of the solution, and that you also get more satisfied users, and also really to achieve getting trusted insight out of the systems at scale. So that's the theory, typically, and we wanted to find out for you in our study how that really plays out in the field. Does it really work? Yeah. So we made a survey at the beginning of this year, and we asked 319 analytics experts, such as you, from all across the world, what they think about benefits, challenges, and so on and so forth. And I just want to show you two extracts. You will have, or you have the document of the study also available as a PDF. So there you find all the details to go into it any further. If we talk about benefits that we get from these solutions, the number one benefit is better usability through unified interface. So that's the benefits that people get when they use vertically integrated data and analytics software. So 68% say so. And yes, this unified interface, as we said, is very important. And on top, most of these tools are quite modern, as we said, so they are easy to use on various devices. They are easy to use for the consumers and for the creators and producers of the content alike. So that's very important. And if it's easy to use for the creators, and if you don't have to jump through multiple tools, then yes, creating analytics assets such as reports or data sets or machine learning models becomes much more efficient. Yeah, and that's very important. That's what 60% say. And if you can do it more efficiently, then obviously you get faster at doing so. And if you can create your content faster, you can iterate more often, and you get to better insights. And that's what increases and drives the effectiveness of such solutions. And that's what 50% say. So the number 3 on our list. And this also goes very much together with the topic of quicker time to insight. I think this is one of the most important aspects that we see today. So how do I get the insight from my data quicker? Because the world is moving quickly and everyone now sees that. And so how does analytics have to react to this? And this is one of the most important topics that plays through many of the benefits as observed, and not only to the quicker time to insight directly that we see here with the 47%. If we switch the angle a bit and we ask, how satisfied are you when you use a vertically integrated tool versus if you don't use it? Yeah, we asked the people, and this is a selection, and we only show the percentage who said we are very satisfied with our tool. And here we see something that was quite interesting for us, and it was quite a surprise, obviously. because we thought, okay, 39% say the latency. We are very satisfied with the latency that we get from that tool. So how long does it take if the data changes in the source until we can present that? We thought, okay, these tools, they make use of their internal storage. And there will be redundant or there will be replication of data, which typically takes time. But yet, it looks like the tight integration through the whole data flow makes up for the time consumed by replicating the data, because only 18%, which is less than a half, are very satisfied with so-called traditional tool or other types of tools. And as we've said, quicker time to insight is the topic, and here also the gap is the widest. So more than 3 times as many people say we are very satisfied if we run this type of tool instead of any others. Yeah, and this all contributes to that also the relevance of the insight. So you give me the results that work better for me, that are more relevant to my business questions. It's also 2 times as high for integrated data and analytics software. And with this, I'd like to conclude, and that should be a quick teaser for you. And you should be aware that or if you want to speed up the content creation, if you want to speed up and improve and modernize your analytics, then you should really think twice about this type of tool of software, of this category, and if the paradigm of using it as such is interesting for you. And the study that we provide should be a starting point. The presentations that you will now see should be a starting point, because the speakers, they will tell you how they relate to the findings in our study and how their tool really works together with that. And as such, I wish you lots of fun with this presentation and lots of new insights from these presentations. And I'm looking forward to discuss the matter with you in the Q&A at the end.
Perfect. So good evening and maybe good morning for some of you, since some people are from Canada. So what I would like to do here is to really probably try to disrupt a little bit of thinking in terms of what we call BI, data visualization and data governance. And it's probably the essence or the reason of being of Suadeo as a company. Suadeo is a French company that was established in 2004. And the offer is defined as Self BI, and I'll tell you more about it. We position ourselves as a provider for a solution that will enable you to be agile and truly business needs oriented. And our technology is an all-in-one. It covers every single aspect of any requirement in terms of BI. Suadeo has recently been labeled by the DNUM in French, which is, if I want to translate it, the digital inter or intra-departmental office between different ministries in the French government. We are present, as a matter of fact, in various public organizations in the private sector as well. So when I said why I'd like to disrupt a little bit the thinking here and to really try to do this exercise with you guys to redefine how we look at BI. I say this because we have a firm belief in one thing very important, and that is that data has absolutely no value but by the usage we make out of it. It means that you may have all the best capacities of storing, you can have a clean data, whatever you have, which we have today, we need it. But at the end of the day, it has no value if it's not usable or it doesn't reflect the exact need from a business perspective. And at the end is that data usage has no sense if it's not truly business oriented and goes beyond just answering facts that we see on a board, but much more in terms of the why of the matter. That could probably start taking a little bit your thought. At the end of the day, as a business user, do I really care about how the technology works behind it? What I care about is to be able to find my data, and to be able to orchestrate that data. In other words, to do whatever I want to do with it in order to answer crucial questions that I may have specifically to take a decision. That would mean that I do not have to deal with technicalities. That is not my job. My job is to take a decision. My job is to eventually answer questions for the board, for my directors, my team, to be able to take what we call a strategic decision. Now, the reality when we work is that the much needed data visualization, we need it. It does not offer something that is extremely important, and that is reactivity. What we know today is that most of the, let's say, dashboards that we have, reports, we can pretty much pre-format it, and there is a lot of solutions in the market out there. They're doing a great job. So we can eventually schedule something that would happen on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. But then there is this 20%, and we're just using the Pareto, it could be more or less. But yeah, there is this specific needs and requirement that may come spontaneously, that it could be ad hoc. And we live this probably with the COVID episode that we lived, we're still living, where I need as a business person to take a crucial decision. So what happens in reality is that I would probably need to go back to the IT team to help me, probably adding new data, maybe connect it to another source of data, or probably to make some changes. Of course, we know that the tools that we have today in terms of data visualization, I do have a certain freedom to do that. I could play with it, but that is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about goes deeper into what we call the data management and governance. You see, when you have this data, it comes up with some rules, business rules. It could be the credentials in terms of security, integrity. What about data cataloging? What about the traceability and data lineage? How can I, as a business user, be free in whatever I do based upon the policies of the company and literally free that data for me to be able to use? And this is how we approach this reality of BI, which we call Self BI. So what happens is that access to data is feasible today. We know that. But as I said, the fact today is that whenever you need to change some rules, whenever you need to change something that will impact your decision, it will automatically require something in terms of data management and governance. So can I do it as a business user? That was the raison d'être in French, or the reason of being of Suadeo. How can you bring all this together to enable the non-IT people to do whatever they want with their data and have exactly what they want as they want it without having to always go back with this iteration with the IT team? At the end of the day, the IT people, the data scientists, data specialists, data architects, their real job is to optimize the data quality, to ensure that it's secure, to ensure that it's integer, and to ensure that it's available and viable, that they can, trust that. But they're not here to try to redefine what I'm trying to do in terms of business orientation. So the way we do it is this merger between what we call data visualization tool and data governance, all in one solution, which enables me to not only go get my data from any kind of sources, to be able to clean it before I bring it on, to build my catalogs, very important to retrieve my data at any given time, and to trace it. I could know at any single moment of the life cycle of the data, what is this data, where is it, why is it here, who did it, and where is it being used for? So it enables me to also, if I wanted to do some cleanup, and you probably have seen that in your actual jobs, or maybe before, or heard of, when you have people that have tens, if not hundreds of thousands, maybe too much, but of dashboards, and they don't know why they have all these dashboards. How can I do some cleanup here? How do I know which data is used for what? So you need that kind of holistic solution that enables you to do it. But there's something to it. I just said in the beginning that we're trying to get rid of the technicalities and all the, let's say, the obstacles a non-IT person may have in order to change the things and be able to answer that why question, we need to ensure as well that is absolutely easy. It's easy in the sense that I am not going to do coding for that. It's just clicks, drag and drops. I can interface it with any market tools that you may have. I have connectors that are available, embedded, and there is a native high-level security. And it goes through the whole processing chain of data. And I can do it myself as a business user or a non-IT person. In terms of security, as I said, it's extremely high. I need to make sure that the data that I'm manipulating is not going to compromise the data as is. So the solution is built with this perspective, enabling you as a business user to work with a peace of mind because you are working in a very secure environment. But also, it's quick to implement. I don't want to go through the hurdle or the problems of, to do a lot of manipulations because I have different blocks of technology. It's all one technology. I'm unable to use it the way I want. There are some models maybe I'm not going to use, but I may use in the future. So just imagine from the moment you have your data, wherever it is, you clean it, catalog, trace it, data lineage, do your reports and dashboards the way you want, and share it. We want to have a solution that doesn't have any hidden costs, because you need to build some kind of APIs here, and maybe the connector needs to be added, and maybe you have to have different logging and stuff. And at the end, what we call the data self-service or self-BI, it's at the level of the data management and governance with a very intuitive training and process. And all you need to know is that you have total control in terms of data sources and trailing, traceability, and it's real-time, or let's call it near real-time. We don't want to use real-time because we know that there's always a delay in terms of analysis and sharing. Being in a configuration where I would like to do just simple queries or multi-dimensional queries, and even bring some data from outside that I don't have, I need and I must have that luxury, because this is what I need to use a BI tool for. Our clients that we have today reflect a bit what we have seen in the survey or this study from BARC. People feel that freedom, they feel that agility, and as you can see, some examples here are literally talking about the fact that they feel that they can do things in a better manner. They can literally access the data as they want. They don't have this burden of having to go through different CEOs of practices or policies inside the company to be able to do what they want to do. So at the end, what's important to retain is that our approach to meet what has been with the outcome that we have in this study, our approach is really based upon this merger between data visualization and data governance, which enables you to give the user an autonomy, or let's say freedom, in total security, and being able to trace the data and what has happened with big data performance, but most importantly, reactivity. And this component requires, as I said, this merger between the layer of data visualization and data governance. This is what Suadeo has been doing since 2004, and I'll be happy to share with the audience more information about how it works and go through more details, including a presentation if you would like to have one. And I'll be open to any question later on.
So I'm going to start with a question for Konstantin, just because you were the first speaker. So I'm pretty intrigued by, talking about data culture. And you've talked about how data lineage and transparency about data lineage can create trust, which is really vital. But maybe you could, one, expand on why that trust is so vital, and then how that transparency does create the trust.
Sure, happy to. I mean, the first part is probably related to this awful topic of fake news that we have around these days. Obviously on a different scale within your organization, but still, just because it says 42, well, is that number 42 correct? Is that too high? Is that too low? Is it, like I said, is it recent data, or is it almost like half a year old, that like my data that I showed earlier? those are important things that make you want to use that dashboard, because even the best dashboard, the best analysis is absolutely useless if it shows old data and if nobody's using it. So you have to make sure also to kind of, and that's part of your data culture as well. Not only, if you want to kind of convince people to trust data more than their gut feeling, and this is what we're kind of getting at if we talk about all those nice additions of artificial intelligence and machine learning, those are all useless if they say, well, the machine says this, but I know better. Then why are we doing this in the first place? So in order to achieve this trust into these numbers, into those models, I need to be able to, I want to look it up for myself. Is that data what I think it is, what it says it is? And so just by giving me this option, I don't have to check this every time, obviously, but whenever I kind of doubt something, or if I'm exploring a new dashboard, just to have the ability to look into this metadata. And metadata sounds very boring. It's data about data, but it is so important. And I think if we manage, and I think we've seen this multiple times today, if we manage to kind of present this really important data about my data in an approachable way, then people will also start using it, just like they're using dashboards now. I think the introduction and the kind of, again, breaking down the barrier of using the value that lives in the metadata, that can really help is that a word? Kind of propel people's usage of the data, because they then start trusting it.
Yeah, I think that's spot on, and you're hitting on very important points like data communication and access and literacy. Pretty important.
That's exactly this vertical integration that you talk about in your report.
Right.
Perfect. Karim, maybe as Konstantin said, a data or a dashboard is of no use and no value if you don't use it. I think that resonates very well with what you have told, or I think that was on slide 1 of yours. Also the question regarding culture, to stick with the topic, what are typical changes you see your customers undergo if they start running Suadeo? How do their processes change? How do they change working with data? How does collaboration change?
Thanks. Yeah, well, absolutely. And this is something that we need to stress on. And Constantin has said something very important. I mean, if you don't value the data and what it has, what it can tell us, it's of no use, and it's sad. So this is what we repeat again. We said that data has absolutely no value except by the usage we make out of it. And this will mean that it has to be clean, organized, and so forth, but it has to really reflect what we want to do with it. Coming back to your direct question, which is how did our clients react, if you want, when they started using Suadeo? First of all, it was this surprise and the aha moment, which is, oh my God, I could do all of this in one. Like, it's not just dashboards, it's not just reports in near real time, but it's also data management and governance. It's also catalog. It's also traceability and collaboration. And I can react. What I mean by this is that, look, if I want to take a strategic decision today, I have my data. If I'm in a sales role, I have all the setup of my data coming from different sources, right? From sales team or finance and so forth. They are there. They could be very valuable and they're very clean with the right data culture. But what if I need to inject some tacit knowledge? Do I need to go back to the IT team to do that for me? That's not their job. You know, their job is IT, security, integrity, and so forth. So that was one of the key things. First of all, they were just surprised the fact that they have the full range. And these are many clients that I'm happy to share with the audience if they want some specific examples. And then the speed at which you can do it. And behind this drag and drop. There is no coding. It's all done as if you're using any Office tool, and it's very intuitive the way we do. So all of them are happy because of that. This is at least the first thing that we get from them.
Yeah, building data assets is often a struggle. So, and if you can't share it, if you can't reuse it, and if the people don't understand where the data is coming from, that's again why data lineage is so important. It's such an important part if you want to democratize access to data and so on. That's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, and the frustration, Robert, that I don't need to knock on the technical team. I want to do it myself. It's my data.
Yeah, definitely. Miguel Angel, first of all, you get the award for fastest speaker today. Most slides, most words in the brief time. And the question now is, can you build reports in board as fast as you can speak?
Actually, yes. So the point actually here being that, and this is a little bit the only point that I would really like to come across, because I think all of my colleagues are touching the points that are relevant, such as trust in data, such as self-service, etc. But the only point that I wanted to make that is very much in line in the survey is basically giving that power to the people that actually require it. So from that vertical perspective, giving that power to that finance department, to that operations, are very much in line with what Karim was just saying. But not only from the perspective of analytics, but furthermore. So from the perspective of planning, forecasting, of course, with all those things that analytics require, such as clustering, such as AI capabilities, cognitive assistance. We've seen some today from Pyramid Analytics, very interesting. But basically, it's for us, or the way we view it, is an integration from also different aspects, not only from the perspective of analytics. And I think that was I think one of the perspectives that I really wanted to come across.
Great. Do you see any massive changes? Because you spoke a lot about planning and forecasting, which obviously is where board is also coming from. Do you see changes in how these tools are used today?
So actually, as you know, board started with BI and with analytics, and then we switched to planning. And what we do see is that more and more the planning becomes more relevant. Not only because you want that integration perspective from the perspective of analytics, but also because you want all of those capabilities for your department in one unique place. Why? I mean, it's very good to have one point of truth for all of your reporting needs. But if you can plan directly in the same place, and if you can actually do all of that statistical forecasting, etc., in the same place, it becomes even more powerful, because you really have that single point for that department.
Yeah. Perfect. Bill, I really liked what you said about the data dictators, so data governance guys who don't let anyone work with the data, who think we must be in control of everything, and now starting to become really stewards and servants of the people. We are talking about giving data power to the people, which is decentralization. Data dictators and other dictators like to centralize everything. So what does Pyramid do in such a decentralized environment to still support the trust that we need to really rely on the data, and not consider every second report we see fake news or fake report or alternative dashboard or whatever?
Yeah, it's kind of a big question, right? And I think you see human nature play out, because you've got folks that are the owners of the data, and want to make sure that things get enforced. Unfortunately, when you over rotate on the enforcement, those who need that data find a way to get it. And this is the thing then that kind of creates the complexity, and I've got my copy of that data now, but it's only my copy. It's disconnected. It's now everybody's got their own copy. We've got a mess and what we call data chaos, and everybody's got their own Excel spreadsheet to explain things. And as Pyramid looks at it, we think the most fundamental important thing to do is to make that data available. But of course, compliance, governance, all those things kind of count, right? So you've got to have the ability to make the data available, but apply, and I talk about it a lot as being a semantic layer or a metadata layer, so that I make the data available to the folks that need it. I make it available to them in the way that they want to consume it, right? So one of the big hurdles in making data available is I make this data available from its source. But in some cases, kind of the way that data becomes available, it's not really human readable, right? I've got field names that I don't necessarily understand. I look at data formats and all of that. So making that data available, you've got to be kind of consumer centric. It's got to be made available in a way that the consumer can actually understand and use it, right? So I need that metadata layer on top of it, so that and I'll pick on SAP a little bit because, when you look at SAP field names in the raw tables, it's kind of German abbreviations. Well, if you're German and you know SAP, you're set. And so the 90% of us that don't know German and SAP, it's like, well, wait a minute, which number is my sales number? Which one's my gross margin? Which one's my, all right, so I need to be able to present the data in such a way that I'm not causing more confusion. I think the other thing that's important, and this I think is more, this is more process and philosophical. There's always a concern about, is this data the right data, or is it quality data? And I've heard a couple of folks talk about data is not valuable until you use it. You don't know the quality of the data until you actually use it. And the answer around data quality really has to do with the context of what you want to accomplish with it and how you're using it. And you don't really necessarily notice, typically you don't find data quality issues in a holistic quality initiative. You find data quality issues when you apply that data to a particular use case or a particular piece of the business and test its validity and put it in practice and use it. That's where the greatest data improvement comes. So the payout to kind of coming full circle, the payout to the data dictator is by making the data available and making it usable to the consumers. The return that you're going to get is an understanding of the value of that data and what you need to do to improve it and make it better for the business.
Bill, one other thing for you. What augmented analytics features do you think in the future will make the biggest impact in analytics? Will it be automated insights, as we've seen with the smart insights? Will it be natural language queries that we've also seen in Konstantin's demo, in your demo? Support during data preparation, automated modeling, auto ML? What is it?
So, yeah, Robert, I'll back up and I'll answer the question by saying that we kind of believe that in order to start to make use of augmented analytics, you've got to evolve your users into to being able to use them, right? I can't just one day go into somebody who's on the business side, or maybe I'll call them kind of maybe lower data literacy, not familiar with perhaps machine learning and the mathematics and the statistics behind it, and say, hey, go use this regression algorithm, go find a regression algorithm to help me with to do a best sales forecast or best demand forecast, right? It doesn't really help. But if I can get that person used to using and interacting with something that person can understand, then I can help educate them and get them comfortable in using augmented analytics. And I think that's where we think the big payout comes. So it isn't necessarily maybe one particular piece of augmented analytics, but it's beginning the journey of mainstreaming augmented analytics, and which is why we added Smart Insights. That's why we added the chat bot, because we want to get people start to get comfortable with this notion that they can expect more from their data and from their analytics platform. In that case, then they don't have the tendency to want to download and get into Excel and pick it apart. We kind of help them kind of establish a certain level of trust that the platform actually kind of knows what it's talking about. So, end of the day, though, so I'll answer your question directly. I think Smart Insights and the ability to generate that kind of analysis automatically, so whether you call that automated ML or whatnot, that I think is where the big value is, right? That's how I get up to that next layer of abstraction where I'm not investing a lot of time in trying to figure it out. I've actually automated the figuring it out, and now I'm investing my time in the analysis and making decisions for the business.
Perfect. Miguel Angel, one part of augmented analytics is also automating forecasts. What's happening there in BARC? Because BARC was very early in with implementing solutions or implementing algorithms in the system. Do you see now a huge uptake and a huge rise in interest in such stuff? Are you investing in putting that even further? What's going on?
So both from the perspective of predictive analytics and machine learning, as you very well said, we started very early. And at the beginning, there was a lot of, let's say, undecision. People were very skeptical about using historical data for their forecasting, or historical data for their insights, or data that they already have for clustering, for example, groups of customers and products, etc. I think as time has gone by, this has become more and more relevant, and I think people are starting to believe. Okay, so I would say that especially in the new products and the new customers that we bring to board, we see a growing interest in this area. So people are starting to accept that it's something that they actually require. Of course, as some of my colleagues here actually said, you have to trust it. If not, it makes no sense. I think we will never get, and this is my personal perspective, I don't think we will ever get to that 100% automatization, at least from the perspective of predictive analytics, because statistics is statistics, and there's always going to be something that you cannot predict. As much as you want, as good as your algorithm is going to be. I always say the same to my customers, but if I could predict the future, I wouldn't be talking to you today. I would already be rich. And that's a little bit the perspective. So you really have to focus on what makes sense to be predicted. How does it make sense to bring it to a predictive sense? Also from the perspective of machine learning. How you cluster groups of whatever it is. Yes, okay, you can cluster them with different groups, and you can visualize them at least in 3-4 dimensions, depending on the visualization that you use. But you have to believe that what is behind makes sense. So sometimes I see it more as a support tool than actually something that is going to take over 100%. I think probably listening to some of the other opinions there's also very good developments in terms of cognitive assistant, augmented analytics, speaking to the system, getting those insights straight away, rather than actually having to drag and drop an object, which I think everybody here can actually do. But basically bringing that capability of actually talking to the system and getting that insight, I think is really where analytics will be going.
Okay. Great. Karim, what's Suadeo's take on the combination of human intelligence, human ingenuity, human creativity with machine learning? How will that propel the field in the future? What does Suadeo think? What do you think?
Well, we think that the capital of taking a strategic decision is the knowledge that people carry, and I mentioned the word tacit knowledge. And the data is nothing but support for that. Of course, we talk about the quality and how to manage it and make it accessible and so forth. When it comes to machine learning, although it's not really it's not one of the features of Suadeo, but at the end of the day, this is about how you can convey that data as well, probably to those algorithms or system that enables them to learn and make a decision out of it. This has been said, I still believe that we need to have that very important component of human decision. Because as we said, remember that sometimes those drastic decisions needs to be taken quickly, and probably the machine learning doesn't have time or doesn't have enough input to be able to help you take that decision. And this is where the problem is. So it's to go back and make sure that we feed that data properly, but also to enable you as a user to make full sense of it. From the very beginning, when you get it, you need to have a screen that verify that this is exactly the data you want to work with, to help you organize it better, to make abstraction of all the sources and all this coding and everything, and then give you this, I just want to call it maybe a sandbox, where you can play with the data the way you want, based upon your credential, of course. So yeah, this is, we still remain, we still like to focus on the human being and being able to really orchestrate that data, as I said initially.
Perfect. So humans remain in the center, humans remain in the loop. Perfect. Konstantin, where do you think augmented analytics is going in the next years in Tableau, especially when you think about integrating Einstein, which is quite advanced from Salesforce? What can the people out there expect?
Well, I think they can expect a lot, but I really want to reiterate what my colleagues already said. So yes, it's machine learning, and yes, the machine tells me something, but we should not forget that the machine does what I tell it to do, even though it might learn some things kind of intelligently, automatically. It's still human-made. And most importantly, it completely depends on what I put into it. So if I put the wrong data into the best model, it's still going to produce something that's not real. And if I don't look at things like autocollinearity or autocorrelated features, all those things, so obviously I can predict churn if I say, well, the fact that kind of, I don't know, keeps people the longest in my company is how long they've been in my company. Well, yeah, duh. So I need to make sure that I'm using the technology the right way. So there's a lot coming, and I think it's this super weird balance between models becoming more and more advanced and they can do more and more things, but at the same time they should be usable to more and more people, because we always talk about analytics for everyone, and that everybody's a data analyst. I think that is true, and I absolutely believe that, but it brings us to this weird kind of breaking point, like how much data knowledge and data literacy do we kind of require for people to still be able to use those things, as easy as they might be in the day-to-day usage, but the methods behind them are still very complex, and I need to understand the implications of my actions when I use those. So my favorite example is people just dragging linear regressions in Tableau. It's just a drag and drop motion, and they say, oh, look, this is correlated, and I tell them, no, it's not, you're doing it wrong. Do you know what a regression is? So people still need to understand what those things are they're using. So it's a technological thing, and there's new things coming up every day, every minute as we talk. But the second thing is this human capacity of understanding what is going on, and also the requirement for them to be ready to do this. Just like we needed to learn to read and write to kind of spread ideas, I think we need to learn, or we need to teach people how to work with data, what that means. So this topic of data literacy, again, coming back to this other topic of a data culture, that is really critical. Otherwise, it's going to be great technology used in horrible ways.
Okay, that's a perfect word for the ending. I thank you guys very, very much. All the guys also in the background making this possible with all the technical difficulties that we had. Thank you going through this. What I've taken from it is definitely number one is, if we don't make use of our data, then it's of no use. Then it's only a cost thing, and it won't benefit anyway. And it helps us more if we share it with more people, if we collaborate across it, with it, on top of it, if we reuse it in every area, if we talk about it. That's what do you see now? Look, this is what I've done. Yeah, it's bullshit. Yeah, for instance. This is how it evolves, and also the more we use it, together, the better the quality will be, and again, for the more things we can use it. So it's a cycle going upwards, but we have to start it. And what we can't do is we can't allow technology to put barriers in there. We can't allow the data dictators to tell us, okay, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do that. If we can all think for ourselves, and giving power really to the business people, democratizing the access, making it easier, yet not too simple and yet not too stupid, still relying on humans to think clearly and to elaborate what they really want to achieve, and how they plan to do so, and also being able that they know, okay, the data does tell me this, but it doesn't tell me that, even if I think it does. That's also part of the data literacy. And there's lots of things to do. There's lots of fun stuff coming up, and I hope you're all going to stick around in the industry for some time, and I hope we can continue this discussion sometime else. Maybe if we can board a plane and join ourselves or join each other with a glass of wine in Montpellier, maybe with Karim or something like that. That would be great, and I would really look forward to seeing you all in person again. So all the best from our side, and thank you very much for your contribution today.
Yeah, thank you, Nina, and Robert.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks to all speakers. I hope our next panel is going to be on data literacy.
Perfect. then it's set. Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.